In a world. A new world? Yeah, okay, I guess. In a new world with new things. Queue times are horrendous. I mean, yeah, I guess. Technically they are, but that's beside the point, okay? Now stop interrupting me. In a new world with new things where queue times are horrendous. One dagger with the swagger, a knife completely without a life, is going on a guide-making rampage spree. New world, new beginning. Same dagger, coming to a YouTube channel near you.
Subscribe to Party Knife or I'll cut your nuts off!
What is up guys, PK here, and we're back in business. And if you are thinking to yourself, but PK, I never even noticed that you were missing. Well, my friend, that's because I'm a content ninja, okay? My content is so awesome and so ninja that you didn't even realize it was gone, okay? That's how awesome. It's so awesome that you don't even notice that it's missing, okay? Because logic, hashtag, that makes sense. Anyways, in today's video, we're gonna talk about New World. But before we get to that, let's just talk about the hypothetical / philosophical elephant in the room. Now, the reason I haven't been making videos for the past week is primarily because I've been grinding way too much New World. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about Vermintide. As soon as something new happens in Vermintide, I'll be right back there making Vermintide videos. But I felt like I needed a break from Vermintide. Now, my original plan was to play Vermintide, focus on Vermintide until December of this year, when Darktide was supposed to come out, but then that got postponed. Then my plan was to jump in on some Dying Light 2, but then that got postponed. And, you know, I felt like I couldn't just keep going in the same loop all the way into 2022. So when the opportunity arose, I started grinding some New World. And that's essentially why I haven't been making videos for a week, because I like to do my due diligence before I start pretending like I know what I'm talking about. Right? So I've been grinding and grinding and grinding in New World, and I'm planning to make plenty of videos about the crafting system. There's so many things you can make videos about in this game, which is something I thoroughly enjoy, because there's a thoroughly complex crafting system that I really can't wait to get into. Currently I'm level 41, almost 42. And I've been playing it pretty much for 120 hours. I think I started like a day or two after it came out, and I've played roughly 120 hours since then. So, it's been a grind, okay? It's been a grind. Now, of course, the single biggest issue that I've had is the fact that we're playing on a highly overpopulated server called Midgard. I think it's like the 4th most populated server in the EU. So, if you start queuing in the middle of the day, you're not playing until it's evening. So that is a teeny tiny issue, but they have promised free server transfers at some point. And the plan is to see if we can sort of coordinate that in on the Discord server, so we all end up in the same place, and so we can all play together. Yay! Now, we're not going to get into too many details in this particular video in regards to the different mechanics in New World, but I will be talking a little bit about the basics, as well as showcasing an absolutely beautiful location that I've recently arrived to, called the Restless Shore. This is my character. As soon as I can do a name swap, I will. Now, my current character's name is AOG Einstein, because I randomized the character that looked kind of like Einstein, except with funkier hair. Now, really the reason my name is AOG Einstein is because I tried so many funny names and all of them were blocked. Everything from Viagra Cadabra, apparently Viagra is not allowed. There's plenty of things that aren't allowed when you try to name things. Benjamin Poning, for example, but Pone is also not allowed. Plenty of amazing names that are not allowed. But, that aside, I just thought I would show you guys this. I mean, this game is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how much of this gets accurately across, and even if it does, like, it is so much better with the widescreen. This is the one game I've played where I'm like, yep, full widescreen is better. It's just better, okay? I wonder if you can get over there. Never actually tried this. Hold on a sec. It's a very bad idea. Very bad idea. But for the sake of potential comedy, hold on. Okay. No! Ah, so close. Ah. Oh, I survived. I actually thought I was dead there. Anyways. So everything in this game is a skill shot, right? So the base mechanics, you've probably already heard about it. But you equip 2 weapons, essentially. You, of course, have gear, inventory, pretty basic. Then you have all your harvesting tools. Everything from skinning knives to, what's this called? A sickle, that's the word. Axe, pickaxe, fishing, and an Azoth staff. A bunch of different backpacks, of course, jewelry, and all your weapons, your ammunition, your equipped potions and food, your 2 primary weapons, and all your gear here, right? So far so good. Now, the way this game works is there are no classes. Now, everything class related is associated with the attributes that you select. The attributes are correlated to weapon damage. So most weapons, all weapons have a minimum of 1 stat. Some have 2, a primary and a secondary, that they scale with, right? So if I were to respec here and increase my dexterity, then the rapier, for example, which is one of the 2 weapons I'm currently using, it would get 1 damage every time I get 1 dexterity. Whereas every time I got 1 intelligence, which is the secondary stat, it would gain, I believe, 0.66% or 0.66 damage. And so every 50 stat you go up, you unlock some extra perks from that stat. And that's sort of how weapon damage works, right? So you want to correlate your stats such that the 2 weapons you are using, which is also where your abilities come from, I should add, so that they are sort of have a nice synergy, right? And both obtain damage from similar stats, so that you don't have to isolate 2 different stat lines. And then you have Constitution, which also increases your maximum HP. Now, then you can see in Weapon Mastery here, you sort of have a skill tree for all of your weapons that you increase in level simply by using them all the way up to 20. Now, as you can see, I've been using Rapier, Spear, and Bow primarily as my 3 primary weapons. A little bit of musket, tiny bit of sword and shield, because that's what you start out with. Again, all of your weapons then have abilities, and you can sort of switch freely between them, use all your abilities. Of course, things like the Fire Staff and such have way cooler looking abilities, but I am a Shade main, so obviously I had to go for the ninja pick here. And of course I also had to buy the Viking armor. That's a cosmetic that you purchase. I was like, yep, gotta get the Viking armor. Like, there's no way around it, has to be done. But this is an amazingly beautiful game, and again, everything is a skill shot, everything from auto attacks. So there's nothing in the game that you don't have to aim and hit, regardless of whether it is melee or range combat. It's also a highly PvP focused game in several different ways. You each have a faction. There are 3 different factions. Within a faction you have a bunch of different companies. That's essentially a guild. Then the different guilds fight for control over the town in all of these areas. And you get a bunch of different perks depending on whether or not it's your faction that controls it. All of the areas have forts that you then defend in order to gain control of the area, which is then really, really practical, because then you also get tax income from all the people doing trade and crafting in your city. But just all around, it's just a beautiful game. It really is. And I'm not gonna lie, I was not sold on it when I saw the beta. When I heard about the game, I was like, nah, sounds a little bit meh. It's been a while since I played an MMORPG. In fact, I haven't played one properly since I played World of Warcraft quite a while back. Stopped that in the end of Wrath of the Lich King, right before Cataclysm came out, which I heard was a good time to stop. But I'm not gonna lie, this game has totally consumed me for the past week, okay? Because everything in the game, as it relates to crafting, which is great for making guides, is really, really complex. So on top of your weapon skills and such, you of course have all of your trade skills. That's everything from harvesting skills, and like you require a certain level of harvesting, for example. Let's just find the one I'm looking for. Yeah, harvesting, in order to collect certain different plants, right? So if you don't have a high enough harvesting skill, well then you can't collect certain items or certain things that you come across, certain resources. The same goes for mining, and really every other similar skill. Logging, tracking and skinning, which I just maxed out today. 200 is the max level, so that's the first one that I've maxed out. And then you use all these items to craft stuff, but it's more complex than so. Because obviously, this is cooking, so this is a bit different from a lot of the other crafting specs. But even here, a lot of the stuff you make, it's not one-dimensional. If I wanted to make, for example, a light meal, right? As you can see, it requires 3 different ingredients. But it actually allows me here, this is particularly true when it comes to cooking. So if you were trying to make a pair of boots, for example, then most of the time you would need specific materials. But as far as food goes, often you can do different things to make the same thing. A travel ration, that can be many different things, right? So there's a level of flexibility in the crafting system which makes it feel overwhelming at first. Like at first when you jump in, you're like, so much stuff, so many materials, what do I do? What do I make? I have no idea. Like how does it, like, it seems so overwhelming, right? But as you go along, it gets more and more intuitive, which I really, really enjoyed actually. It's both really complex yet really simple. There's so much to it, yet it's not hard to get into. And that's one thing that really caught me. And something that I'm absolutely looking forward to making guides about, because there's so much theory crafting you could do in that. Like so much stuff to talk about in regards to what gives the most crafting XP for the easiest to obtain resources. What are the highest value items you can make in any of the given categories. And again, there are many categories here. Then there's things such as the fact that each city has to build and upgrade their stations, right? So a tanner here, this is a tier 5 tannery, that's the highest you can get. That means I can make the most complex stuff in here. Now this is a place where you take leather and you upgrade it into better leather. Then you take the better leather and you use one of these to upgrade it into layered leather, right? But that needs both thick hide and rugged leather, and again one of these resources in order to make it into an even better form of leather, and so on and so forth, right? Which again is true as well for plenty of other things. You have the arcane repository, which is where you do gem crafting, as well as crafting things like staffs, magic weapons essentially, potions as well. Then you have looms, right? But if the city that you're in doesn't have a high enough tier of said crafting station, well then you can't do it. You can see here requires loom tier 3 to do that, requires loom tier 5 to do that. So it really gets complex, especially when you then get to the workshop or the outfitting station, which is one of those places where you then combine materials from all sorts of different things. Then you can put in Azoth to give it a higher chance to roll a third, like a good perk. And then you can put in specific perks if you have the crafting thing associated with the thing you want, right? So that's like a resource as well that you put in here to give it a specific perk, otherwise it will roll a random perk. And there's just so much, right? Like if you want to make gems, you first have to get the silver ore, then you have to convert the silver ore into silver ingot, then you have to get the silver ingot and craft the silver band, then you have to get the silver band and put it together, or let's say like a silver band and a silver setting that you then use along with more silver ingot, as well as a gemstone that you first have to get, then you have to cut the gemstone, then you have all the materials you need here, then you can put in the specific perk you want, and then you can craft one necklace, right? There is so much stuff, and if it sounds overwhelming, it is at first, but it's actually a lot more intuitive than you might think, so I really want to give them credit for that. All in all, I think it's a beautiful game. Do I think it's gonna last as long as World of Warcraft? Probably not, but what game does, right? The great thing about this game is that it's free to play once you purchase the game, so you don't have to worry about paying each month to play it. And yeah, I've racked in a total, as I talked about earlier, let's see the numbers. I have racked in a total of 124 hours. That's quite a bit, considering when the game came out, and considering the fact that I started playing it a day or two after, right? It's pretty much all I've been doing, because I've been looking forward to getting back to making videos and talking to you guys. So yeah, we're back in business, playing a bunch of New World. If you guys want to hit me up, we're on the server Midgard, but we're probably going to switch server at some point. And if there's anything specific that you guys would like me to talk about in the game, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I will be starting some crafting guides coming up very, very soon. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. It's a beautiful game, it's a lot of fun, has great PvP, great crafting system. What's not to love? anyways, guys, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Plenty of more New World videos coming out soon. So as soon as I know what I'm talking about, I will share it with you guys. As I said, I've spent this past week just trying to suck in as much info as possible. Been reading up on guides myself, been watching streamers who've had more time to play in the beta, and sort of just trying the best I could to learn as much as I possibly could about the game as quickly as possible, whilst also grinding my way up. And I didn't really feel like, even though I probably could have explained a bunch of stuff when I was level 20, I'm like, who the hell wants to take advice from someone who's level 20, right? Let's be real. That's how the internet works. And I understand that. So I thought, you know what? Okay, I have to do the grind first, and then the guides come later. So anyways, look forward to that. And as I said, there will be more Vermintide videos. I'm not quitting Vermintide. I'm just taking a little bit of a break. If anything new happens, I'll be there immediately. And as always, I love you guys. Stay awesome. Peace out.